Well, hello and welcome to Business Morning. Compliments of the season. Hope Santa, bless your portfolio with some incredible profit this season. But if you didn't get that, you have a chance tomorrow. Markets are reopen. But let's get to the top stories that set your agenda now. We see in the telecom industry, MTN Nigeria extended its partnership with Entel by renewing their spectrum lease agreement. This move approved by the Nigerian Communications Commission. That's the NCC, will significantly enhance network coverage and service quality for customers across the country. Under the renewed agreement, MTN will continue leasing crucial spectrum bands from Entel in 19 states. The lease for 5 megahertz in the 900 megahertz band and 10 megahertz in the 1,800 megahertz band has been extended for 2 years, effective May 1st, 2025. For the remaining 17 states and the Federal Capital Territory, the lease extension is for 1 year, effective January 1st, 2025. This renewed access to spectrum will allow MTN to further improve 3G and 4G services, providing a better user experience for its customers. And the Nigeria's Employers Consultative Association, NECA, has urged the Lagos State Water Regulatory Commission to stop disrupting businesses after sealing the factories of Coca-Cola, Hellenic, Friesland, Campina, Wamco, and Guinness, Nigeria for extracting groundwater without proper authorization. NECA warns that the closure will scare off investors and increase job insecurity in Lagos. NECA's Director General, Mr. Wale Smart, Yerinde, stresses that businesses are already burdened by tough economic conditions and high taxes. He argues that the government should provide water, and it's unfair to levy businesses forced to supply their own water. So Yerinde also mentioned ongoing talks with private sector to resolve the issue. He calls on the Lagos State government to intervene and urged LASWACO to adopt a more constructive, business-friendly approach to regulation. The National Bureau of Statistics has earmarked 35 million naira in its 2025 budget proposal for capacity building on cybersecurity and data center management, following a cyber attack that compromised its website on December 18th, 2024. In addition to cybersecurity, MBS has outlined several initiatives in its 9.85 billion naira budget aimed at modernizing operations and improving service delivery. Among these are 500 million naira for the labor force survey, 80 million naira for the consumer price index production, and 60 million naira for the quarterly GDP compilations. The breach, disclosed via the Bureau's official X account, led to warnings for the public to disregard information on the platform, raising concerns about the agency's digital infrastructure. As the country's primary source of statistical data, the NBS vulnerability underscores the critical need for cybersecurity enhancements. And thousands of people have been flocking to Echo Hotel and Suites Tropical Christmas Wonderland in the holiday season to enjoy the theme parks and carnivals and all the amusements and fun for all ages. The Director of Sales and Marketing, Echo Hotel and Suites, Dr. Oladuni Gbadebo, explains why the festivities, which runs till January 2nd, is a hospitality, travel and leisure destination for the whole family and tourists alike. Our correspondent, Olumide Macaulay, reports.
As the flags attest, the Echo Hotel and Suites Tropical Christmas Wonderland is international in scope and African by design. Creativity and innovation at its finest as costume processions of a carnival gets underway with enough razzmatazz to give Rio de Janeiro a run for her money. But this is Lagos, and these beauties in red, white, and orange lead a carnival of floats. There's a little bit of everything: African rhinos, stilt workers, fire eaters, unicyclists of a Pride Land circus, a Chinese dragon, the Bulandians, that is, future Africans, and DJs on the ones and twos. Plus, why go to the North Pole to see Santa Claus when he's here with you? The First Lady, Mrs. Claus, who waves with her little Santa elves. In their vehicles, instead of complaining about the traffic, people take pictures. At the Hakuna Matata theme park, Eco Atlantic City, a stone's throw from Eco Hotel, it's a children and families paradise, plus tourists. The director, Sales and Marketing, Dr. Yadunik Badibo, describes it in a nutshell.
Tropical Christmas Wonderland is the foremost family holiday destination in all of Africa. There is nothing compared. 5 days, 7 days, 11 days, 13-day package where you get breakfast, lunch, dinner, access to this beautiful theme park called Hakuna Matata Theme Park all day long from 10 o'clock to 9 p.m. at night. We're not interested in going anywhere else. We're keeping our money local in Nigeria, and we're making things happen here.
For the assistant brand manager, it's a major win.
And when we started, it started very small. But now it is a household name in Nigeria. Mind you, we have guests coming from Europe, from America, to come and witness Tropical Christmas Wonderland.
From as far afield as Denmark, they come.
My name is Søren, and I'm from Denmark. This is our Christmas Eve. So if I was ever to not be home for Christmas, this would be the perfect thing to do. So, and I'm very happy I did it. And I can actually live without home when I try this. I've just had some of the what's called soya or something like that. Never tried it before. Suya. Yeah, suya. Very spicy, but I liked it. I really liked it.
Everybody just loves Hakuna Matata because why not? So I've come here like a bunch of different times because it's that fun.
The festivities started from December the 20th and runs through till January the 2nd, 2025.
And the Petroleum Company Limited is taking a significant step towards boosting hydrocarbon production. And that's with the launch of its new production monitoring. That's for production monitoring command center. This initiative, spearheaded by NNPCL Upstream Investment Management Services, aims to enhance operational efficiency and maximize production output. Well, let's get a sense of what to expect now. Joining us is Mr. Jide Pratt. He's the Chief Operating Officer, Iona, and the Country Manager at TradeGrid. Compliments of the season. Great to have you. Yeah, I think you might have to. Fantastic. I hear you now. Great to have you, JP. So, yeah, so it's another move now we're seeing from the NNPC Limited. But, you know, talk to me about what specific technologies and systems are being utilized in this production monitoring command center. That's the PMCC.
So, thanks again, Laddie. One of the things that we try to do in oil and gas is what you call custody transfer. So what that means is that you could move cargo, be it crude oil, and in this case, we're talking specifically crude oil. So what that means is that you're trying to move the product from one location to another location. In doing this, what the NNPC has done is that at the NNP, can you hear me, Laddie?
Okay, I guess the internet connection there is getting a little draggy. I know there's a lot of volume usage there. But Jide, I'll try to get you back on, but you were frozen for a moment there. But, you know, definitely we've been talking about boosting oil production in Nigeria, trying to meet, you know, targets at this point to see how the government can actually get more revenue. And now we're seeing the NNPCL now launching this production monitoring command center. And it is hope that with this platform, we can get more production, you know, out of the ground. That's talking about oil, and so we can get more foreign exchange, and definitely meeting targets. We see the budget for 2025. There is a production target there, and meeting that target will be a game changer for revenue. That's in 2025 for the government, because the expenditure is a lot. We'll still try and get Jide Pratt. I don't know if we have Jide now. Jide, you were frozen for a moment there. Okay, we'll still try and get Jide. The conversation definitely still has to be had there on this production monitoring center, what to expect from it, how this would help Nigeria's oil and gas industry come 2025. And we need all of that revenue coming on. And also, there's a lot of conversations about pricing now when it comes to the product itself. We've seen the NNPCL, we've seen Dangote refinery, giving gifts at this time to Nigerians, slashing the price of PMS per liter to sub 1,000. Maybe at some point, hopefully, we get sub 900 and lower, if possible. And that gifting, I hope it continues into 2025. All right, we'll get back to the conversation, but all right, I think we have JP back now. JP, are you back?
I'm so sorry. This is what I get to face when we say our internet is not stable. I really apologize to you.
No, it's fine. But you can continue with your thought.
Okay, so what I was talking about was custody transfer. So in oil and gas, what is that? It's basically trying to say that if I move 10 liters of A from point A, I need to be sure I have 10 liters of what you call A in point B. What the NNPC is trying to do now, which I believe they should have done a while back, is that using technology, so you have things like ATGs, automatic tank gauges, you have sensors, you have flow meters. However, what they have done is that we have gone on the back of what you call Internet of Things, basically. And you're able to, at a click of a button, see what moves from, be it shallow waters, be it onshore, be it wherever it is where the crude oil comes from. It's going to come from that location and it's going to go to a terminal. Now, from the terminal, obviously, it could either go to exports or go into refineries. But bottom line, what they're trying to do is that the custody or the quantity that moves from point A to point B is now seen on what you call a monitoring dashboard, which is the PMCC they have just launched. I don't know if they had one before or have upgraded it. But that way, it's very, very simple, Laddie. As things flow,
I guess it happened again. The internet, again, holding us back from this conversation. But definitely we see Jide making a point of how, every platform, should have this production. That's oil and gas platform should have this oil and gas monitoring. All right, JP, yeah, so definitely I understood, what you said previously. But now, we've been struggling with, getting production, up in Nigeria. And I'm guessing what people want to know, with it in the President Bola Tinubu's media chat earlier, he did say that they've not received anything from the NNPC so far. Is this the game changer? Will this make NNPCL be able to remit money now to the government?
So it's two things, Laddie. What the president said, in my opinion, I think we should ideally be asking the NNPC why. If they're not doing that, it's because crude oil is missing and we can't put a finger on where it's going to. It's also because of the fact that they lack corporate governance, in my opinion. Now, two things. What does this do? This puts accountability on the table. What it does mean is that you can actually trigger, and someone monitoring a screen can see if there's a break in a pipeline, if there's a break in product moving from one terminal to another. Technically, you can see where there are losses, and that's the aim of monitoring. Once you can see where there are losses, it's easier to be able to say this is where what has gone to, and this is why it's gone to where it's gone to. So this is a step in the right direction, but it's not the silver bullet to clean everything up. I do think that one thing that still needs to happen is a proper management team in terms of corporate governance. But this will obviously give accountability in terms of where products is coming from in terms of crude and where it's going to.
All right, so looking at the product pricing so far, we've seen the NNPCL, the Dangote refinery, giving gifts at this time. We've seen PMS at sub 1,000 naira. So going forward, are you seeing sub 900 in 2025?
In my opinion, no. And why do I say no? Not to be a bringer of bad news. But the crude oil pricing is one thing. The exchange rate in terms of where we are is another thing. If those fiscal or monetary policies work well and our crude oil begins to, let me say crude oil is stable going into 2025. If that happens, and FX is also stable going into 2025, and we have sub 1,700, then yes, crude oil prices are likely to go down. But like if we don't have exchange rates going lower than 1.7, if you notice when the Dangote refinery went ahead with a price reduction, they seem to have cut their price beyond production price. And they said they were doing this in the interest of the nation. So what that means is that if the crude oil parameters do not stay stable, exchange rate does not stay stable, and they go up, then what would happen is that those prices will go beyond 1,000 again. But it's very, very simple. On the other hand, if we're able to rein in crude oil prices, and let's assume they stay at $75 a barrel, the direct effect of that is that when it comes to distillates, the gasoline index templates, you'll find out that it probably will stay around the next 670s, 680s. If the crude exchange rate at this point now is sub 1.5, then yes, prices will continue to go down. But like I said, it's a double-edged sword. If it goes in the opposite direction, then prices will go back up.
So I guess strengthen the Naira and we'll see the impact on PMS prices going lower. Right, JP? Frozen again. All right, JP, thank you so much for coming on. That was Jide Pratt. He's the Chief Operating Officer, Iona, and a country manager at TradeGrid. We're definitely hoping for lower prices going into 2025. But we'll take a break now. When we come back, I'll be looking at the banking industry, how the bank raises going. That's in a moment. Just stay with us. Alrighty now, so we see Tier 1 Bank, Access Holdings, completed its recapitalization exercise, becoming the first bank to meet the Central Bank of Nigeria's new 500 billion naira recapitalization requirement. The bank raised 351 billion naira through a rights issue oversubscribed by 105.76%, securing regulatory approvals from the CBN and the Securities and Exchange Commission. The funds will boost Access Holdings' share capital to 602.8 billion naira and expand its issued shares to 53.318 billion, with a market capitalization of about 1.32 trillion naira. All right, let's get an outlook now for the bank recapitalization exercise in 2025. Joining us is Damilare Shimi, who's a macro strategist at AfriInvest. Great to have you. Compliments of the season.
Good morning, Ladi. Glad to be here this morning.
Fantastic.
Compliment of the season to all our viewers across the world.
Thank you so much. So we're seeing, Access Bank now, the first to hit this target. What would you say were the key factors, that contributed to the success of this rights issue? And I'm guessing you might be expecting more, of these targets being hit by most of these banks.
Yeah, thank you once again, Ladi. Let me start by saying that I'm not surprised by this development. The reason is because the Nigerian banking industry have been resilient over the years. This is not the first time the industry will be going through a recapitalization phase. And based on outcome of the previous one, especially the one that took place in 2025, where we had the industry being consolidated from over 89 banks to just about 25. What happened then is largely what is also playing out here, where the industry leaders, the major banks, came off the exercise much stronger. And AfriInvest, being the pioneer of banking industry in Nigeria, have always been tracking that. So this year, when the CBN announced the recapitalization exercise early in March, we have put out a lot of publications to sort of instill confidence in Nigerians that most of the banks will come out very strong from this exercise, notably the players in the Tier 1 categories. And Access Bank have just announced that he has successfully raised about 351 billion, which is slightly above even the minimum baseline it needed to maintain its license authorization. You recall that in March, when the CBN redefined the minimum capital base for banks and non-banks, for the commercial bank, the capital base requirement for them was raised from about 50 billion to 500 billion. just to accommodate or to check the effect of capital erosion that has taken place over the last 20 years now. When the exercise last took place, exchange rate has moved from about 189 in 2005 to about 1,600 now. Inflation in Nigeria over the last 5 years has averaged above 18%. So when you look at those effects, the real value of the capital raised then in 2005 have actually been eroded, and that is what the CBN has pushed the bank to do. So Access Bank have taken the lead, not because they are the only one that have actually successfully raised that amount. Based on our market tracking data, there are also other tier 1 banks that have also successfully raised capital needed to meet the new requirement for their license authorization. But we think that they are yet to clear their capital raise transaction with SEC. So, but by and large, we believe that, especially from the tier 1 banks, we believe that the capital raise exercise is just a way of also helping them to boost their capacity to propel this economy. And you recall that one of the essence of this recapitalization exercise, which the CBN put to bear, is that they want the banks to be more stronger, to be able to finance the target of a 1 trillion economy over the next 7 to 8 years. So it's a good news that Access Bank is taking the lead in terms of being the first to announce its capital raise, successful raising of the shortfall capital to meeting the new recapitalization. We look forward to hearing more in the new year as small banks also complete the exercise. And for the tier 2 banks, we are also very optimistic that a sizable number of them will also scale this exercise. And perhaps we might have a few M&A at the end of the day. But by and large, we think the banking sector will come off stronger at the end of this exercise to finance, to drive the economy, to drive sectors across the country to greater heights.
Right. We have the markets, financial markets are open tomorrow. How do you see this news now shaping investor sentiment towards the Access stock?
So interestingly, right, among the banking stocks that we tracked, Access Bank, compared to its peer, the tier 1 bank, Access Bank is the Access Bank ticker or stock has been the least performer in terms of year-to-date gain. I think the stock has only gained barely about 4%. You have the other tier 1 tickers that have gained above 30, above 40. So this sort of news should boost investor sentiment towards Access Bank, and will not be surprised to see a significant rally on the stock, because it has instilled more confidence it has instilled more confidence in investor on the ability of the bank. Of course, for anyone that knows the story of Access very well, this is not the first time Access will go through a very challenging situation and come up with something great out of it. I want to talk about critical acquisitions they have done in the past, Intercontinental in 2011, the other bank they acquired in 2018 to strengthen their customer base, which is Diamond Bank. So by and large, Access Bank have a track record of coming up strong, even in challenging situations. And the challenges that the recapitalization exercise posed to all banks in 2024, because after the announcement in March, in Q2, the banking sector was in the red. And thus far, now we have seen the banking sector move down. So with Access Bank announcement of successfully raising the capital needed to drive them in the new era of CBN recapitalization fees, we're optimistic that the stock will see some buying interest in the remaining few trading days of the year, leading into the new year 2025.
Right, and talking about the capital raises so far by majority of the tier 1 banks and tier 2 banks, how do you see the raises so far? How they've impacted the Nigerian economy, and how they will impact going forward into 2025?
Well, so let me start by saying that the banks have done well in terms of the capital raise. Based on our estimate as of Q1, when the CBN announcement was made, I think the capital shortfall for the industry was in the region of about 4.2 trillion. And they have 24 months to raise that 4.2 trillion. Just within the space of 7 or 8 months, if we sum up the amount that has been raised, even though some have not come out to declare it official, perhaps because they have not cleared with CBN and SEC, we think the players in the industry have raised close to 2 trillion naira, including the Access Bank. So that tells you that the banks have really strengthen their buffer. Now, in terms of their contribution to the economy, if you look at the trajectory of the GDP in the last 2-3 years, the banking, or let me say the finance and the financial institutional sector under the GDP composition have done on average 25% growth. That is more than 7% fold of what even the broader economy is doing. So that means that the finance and insurance sector have been growing very rapidly in terms of their size. Now, in terms of contribution to society, one of the ways of assessing that is looking at what is their loan book looking like. The loan book in the banking industry have risen significantly from barely about 60 trillion about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, to about 140 trillion. So meaning that the banks are actually doing it, significantly in terms of helping to reflate the economy. Because the question you need to ask yourself is that what is the primary role of banks? The primary role of banks is to be a sort of a connector, a bridge between the have and the have-not, in that they help the surplus economic agent to they acquire, they take from the surplus economic agent with a promise of certain interest and make resources available for the deficit economic agent that want to expand productivity, expand capacity. And if you look at the fact that their loan book have grown from about 60 trillion or so at the end of 2022 to about 140 now, you want to agree that the banks are actually pushing, pulling their weight in terms of boosting the economy. I would think that as many of them get to meet the new capital requirement, they will have more ability to do this, to support the general economy. Of course, the current interest rate environment is a bit challenging in terms of cost of borrowing for businesses. But by and large, the banks have the capital to borrow. They have the capital to support sectors, the oil and gas, the manufacturing. We just need inflation to be addressed by the appropriate authority, led by the Fiscal Monetary Authority. And then the bank can easily offer credit to people at affordable rates, which will have more multiplier effect on the economy. But by and large, the banks are supporting the economy, given what their loan book is showing.
Okay. Well, I guess, going forward into 2025, I hope customers are able to access as much cash, as they need, at the banks. We've seen the whole cash crunch and how the POS agents are, stepping in to give out the cash. And hopefully the ATMs come online, in 2025 and more credit to the private sector. Hopefully, if inflation stays stable. Thank you so much, Damilare Ashimiu, macro strategist at AfroInvest. Thank you, and compliments of the season.
Thank you, Ladi. Do enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, that's it from me on Business Morning. The markets are open tomorrow. We'll give you a summary of what's playing out tomorrow. Hope you're enjoying the holidays. I'm Ladi Williams. I hand things over now to the Sunrise Daily team.